inside. Boston going to work. Scores off the backboard. 4 seconds to go. Boston to Hull. Left wing. Fires a three. Good! Hull heads with .3 to go in the third. Woo!
All right. Well, welcome to the W Hoops podcast. And we are a father-daughter team who loves talking about and watching basketball. And I'm Scott Winslow, and it's my daughter Danielle. And for the past few months, Danielle, we've been talking about the WNBA, and because it's been the WNBA season, and we're from Indiana, and it's been fun to follow the adventures of the Fever this season and everything that's been going on. But it's October, which means college basketball, and really, to be honest, our preference has always been college basketball over pro basketball anyway. So we want to spend some time talking about college hoops.
Yeah, we're excited for the season to start. We watched part of the preseason game for UConn. Yeah, we're UConn and IU fans, so UConn should be good this year for sure. We're not too sure about IU. They lost almost everyone, but Terry Morin is good, and then the men's team has a lot of turnover, so we have no idea what that's going to look like.
Yeah, we do not know yet. But before we hop into the college hoop scene, there are a few things we wanted to chat about the WNBA. And because the NBA is connected to the WNBA, I want to talk about the NBA a little bit. Well, first is the collective bargaining situation. It sounds like the sides are not close at all right now.
Right. I think Adam made some statement publicly in the last week or so, and basically he was kind of like, revenue share isn't it. That's not what they should be going for. They're going to get a raise and they deserve it. And then I think the WNBA Players Association publicly expressed like unhappiness with that, obviously, and we're a week away from the deadline, so I'm expecting we'll hear about an extension soon. But it sounds like the players aren't willing to budge on the revenue issue, and the league doesn't seem, whoever's in control, Adam, Kathy, the owners, haven't wanted to give them the revenue share that they want.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't look like it's going to end well. I mean, even with the extension, I mean, I can't imagine. It feels like they're so far apart. It's hard for me to imagine. And the NBA has problems of its own that Adam should be dealing with instead of dealing with the WNBA so much. I mean, the first controversy was with Kawhi Leonard and these dubious contract that he had with his company called Aspiration, where he was getting tens of millions of dollars to do nothing, while at the same time, the owners of the Clippers were investing tens of $millions into this startup company Aspiration. But he said, no connection at all. This wasn't a way to circumvent the salary cap. Just happened to be that we invested tens of millions of dollars. And then Kawhi Leonard signed a contract for tens of millions of dollars with this company, and he didn't do anything ever to promote. And, I mean, it's really fishy. I don't know if you've followed much of that story, but they had other celebrities who endorsed them, like famous people. Robert Downey Jr., I think Leonardo DiCaprio and was one, I think, but for sure Robert Downey Jr.'s name I heard. But those people actually did ads for this company, and their contracts were way less than what Kawhi Leonard was getting. So, the NBA is just like, yeah, nothing to see here. All the owners are jumping in to defend Steve Ballmer, and the NBA is supposedly going to investigate. But speaking of NBA investigations, Terry Rozier was investigated by the NBA for possible controversial things related to gambling, and they cleared him of it. But this week, the FBI arrested him.
Yeah, that's crazy. There's so much money, it sounds like, in like the gambling and betting on sports. Yeah, it's crazy.
Well, I mean, it's a big controversy. Adam Silver needs to just tend to his own business. His league is like a big mess that, to me, I mean, it just has no integrity. I don't know how anybody can take the NBA seriously as a league right now with this Kawhi Leonard controversy. Yeah, we have a salary cap, but Kawhi Leonard gets $28 million on the side, and all they do is circle their wagons and defend each other.
Yeah. Even the Luka Doncic thing last year was pretty
Oh,
fishy.
that trade, yeah. And then Dallas getting the number
Right.
one
Yeah. I
pick,
mean, yeah.
the whole kit and caboodle of that package is super fish and suspect. And now this, I mean, an NBA coach was arrested for something that's not even gambling. I mean, they made their bed with these gambling groups and like legal. They made it legal now, and it's all good supposedly. But I mean, it's just they're opening a Pandora's box in my mind of just problems and a
Oh
lack of
yeah.
integrity right
Yeah, for
now.
sure.
And
I and even like it just puts so much unnecessary pressure on players and coaches. Like I saw some article, I think that Steve Kerr was saying that he gets emails from random people saying, "Oh, you subbed this person in and screwed me up with my bet because, this player didn't get the
yeah,
points or the rebounds, whatever they had bet on." So,
yeah, it's like organized crime is still involved in all these like contacting these players and coaches and putting
yeah.
pressure on. I mean, they've just opened up a Pandora's box, and it's under Adam Silver's watch that the NBA has allowed this to happen, encouraged it even, and supposedly they come and they tell the players every year, yeah, it's bad for the game. You can't gamble. It's bad for you to do it. But then they do all these things to encourage fans to do it. They have gambling websites that are sponsors of the NBA and sponsors of NBA games and on ESPN. And to me, I mean, there's just so little credibility left. I don't know how, if you're going to take sides between the WNBA Players Association and Adam Silver, I don't know how any,
Mm-mm.
third party independent person with any critical thinking skills at all would say, yeah, I believe Adam Silver is being real honest about the
Yeah.
finances.
Yeah, and it's crazy. Like they aren't revealing the finances for the WNBA at all. They're like, just trust us. It's not making money. It's losing money. But like, if you just do a little math about how many people are going to games and buying tickets, it makes no sense where the money is going.
Yeah, I mean, it makes no sense at all. I mean, there's the past, they may not have been making money 10 years ago,
Yeah, of
but
course.
the Caitlin Clark and Indiana Fever effect, and even the Golden State Valkyries, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
They
they were,
sold out every home game.
yeah, every home game. I mean, there's been a huge uptick. It's hard for me to believe that they aren't becoming profitable now. I mean, I
They're
believe they
either
weren't,
they're either the worst managed league in the world or they're making a ton of money.
which would
Or
either way,
both.
Nafisa would be right, right?
Yeah.
The worst leadership in the world. Either
Yeah.
if they aren't making money right now, they're really horrible business people and they should
Hmm.
all be removed from office. But Kathy's buddies with Adam, evidently. And, but I mean, to me,
And it's a
Adam,
little weird. Deloitte, she came from Deloitte. She
yeah,
was the
which is
CEO at Deloitte, and Deloitte's like one of the major
accounting
sponsors of the
firm.
WNBA.
Oh, really
So it's a little
interesting.
weird.
Well, there's a lot of yeah, just weird stuff going on there. And yeah, I mean, it's hard to believe Adam Silver and to take anything he says publicly seriously at the moment, until he comes up and cleans up his own shop right now. And he's got a bunch of messes going on, and he really needs to just get his nose out of the business of the WNBA. And I hope the players will get, revenue share that's reasonable. I mean, they're not going to get what the NBA players have.
No,
That's
of
not
course.
reasonable.
The WNBA only owns 42% of itself, thanks to Kathy's capital raise a few years ago.
Yeah. So yeah, that's a mess. So I don't think that anything's going to be settled soon. And I wish, Adam Silver clearly feels like Kathy has a what credibility problem with the players, but
Hmm.
I don't trust Adam Silver either. I don't know
Yeah.
how anybody
But
could trust him right
going,
now with
it
all
does
the
sound like
controversies.
it sounds like the players like Adam more than Kathy, but like, do they
Yeah.
really know him? Like he's like
Well,
kind
it
of a
sounds
step
like
away.
yeah, I mean, it sounds like his office or his executive assistant, at least somebody's reaching out and sending congratulations when things happen.
Hmm.
Yeah, I mean, he at least makes an effort to be personable. But I'm just
Yeah.
saying, from a business side of things right now, the NBA is an integrity mess.
Yeah.
And I think Adam's got to clean up his own house and not be so involved with WNBA stuff at the moment.
And even just thinking about like two expansion teams who are supposed to start this year, that was really foolish of the WNBA to think that a CBA year would be a good time to start two new teams.
Yeah, just unwise leadership. Again, points to what Fee said. Fee was 100% saying things that make sense, and Kathy's responses didn't make nearly as much sense as
Mm-mm.
Afisa's comments did, and it aligns with the reality that we know and see about the WNBA. So, yeah, I just don't see that being settled. But there are some other brief news we can touch on before we hop into college hoops, and there's some coaching movement happening with coaches being hired for some of the vacancies now.
Yeah, it happened faster than I expected. Once Sandy was let go, then almost immediately Dallas was like, "Oh, we're letting go of Chris."
Yeah,
So I kind of thought that they were going for Sandy, but Toronto ended up hiring her. So it makes sense to have an established coach
yeah,
as for a new franchise. And as she's from Australia, so it makes sense that she maybe doesn't want to live in America with some of like the visa stuff going on right now. But I assume for the WNBA, it's not too hard for them to get visas,
yeah.
but who knows? But that makes sense, I think. Then Seattle hired the New York assistant. I forget her name.
Oh yeah, is it ramen or something, wasn't it? Isn't
Something.
she Indian?
Hmm.
She's the first person of Indian descent to become a head coach in the
Yeah, I think so.
WNBA. Yeah.
And I think I want to say that she has some NBA experience as well as
Yeah, I think
like
she was an
assistant.
assistant coach for a
Yeah.
year or something. Yeah.
Yeah. So that seems to be a bit of a trend. And then Dallas ended up hiring Jose Fernandez from USF, which I don't know. We'll see. He has 25 years of head coaching experience. USF was never good, but they just didn't really have the talent. But they were, I think, the toughest team typically when UConn was playing them in the AAC. So we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like a strange hire to me. It's
Yeah.
not like, oh, we're going to get rid of our coach because we've got some fantastic opportunity to get a new
Yeah.
head coach who's going to just turn things around. But
The one
yeah.
thing for him is that they did, USF always had a lot of international players. And so
Hmm.
maybe they feel like he'll be good at, although I don't think he's not the general manager, so I don't know if that matters, but he has like overseas connections. And the international game is pretty good these days, so you gotta get into the international market as well.
Yeah, yeah, that's fair. So, speaking of a college coach getting into the international market, I think maybe we can transition to college basketball, which you and I prefer anyway. And yeah, see, you've changed your background on your screen here, and
Yeah.
so let's start with the preseason rankings this year. The defending champion UConn Huskies
Hmm.
are ranked number one.
Yeah. And I think it's the first time I think I saw since like maybe 2017 or something that they were ranked one, which I'm actually kind of surprised
Really?
if that is true that after Stewie and everyone left that they ranked them one. Because no one thought that they were gonna do well that year, but then they did. They were undefeated until the Final Four, obviously. But yeah, UConn opens up at one, and I am looking at it, and it looks like South Carolina got 4 votes, which people love South Carolina.
They
Voters do
do.
anyway. I mean, UConn had the 3 best players on the floor. We rewatched the national championship game recently, and obviously losing Paige is a huge loss, and you can't
Yeah.
come close to replacing her.
No.
But they have more depth. So far, they're pretty much healthy. Um, somehow Sarah Strong will be better than she was last year, presumably, which seems crazy. But it's going to come down to AZ and Sarah, so I have my little picture here with them too. And if they're as good as they can be this year and stay healthy, it's going to be almost impossible. They're going to be the 2 best players 99% of the time.
Yeah. I mean, they've got a good shot at going undefeated this year. I mean, they gave themselves a pretty tough out of conference schedule,
Hmm.
and the Big
Yeah, I
East
think they
isn't
have eight
that
teams
strong.
that are pretty good.
Yeah. Yeah. So they'll be tested, but I mean, unless somebody has an off night, they just have so much depth this year and real talent. And we can talk more about them in depth, but it looked like there's a pretty consistent between the two polls. I think it's the AP and the coaches poll.
Hmm.
UConn and South Carolina were one and two in both, but then there's UCLA, Texas, LSU as the next three in some
Hmm.
order.
Hmm.
I mean, I was a little surprised that I think they both had Texas over LSU, which
It
I
looks like the AP has UC. Oh, yeah, yeah, you're right. They both have it
yeah,
over
they have
LSU.
UCLA was 3-1 and Texas was
Hmm.
3-1. So UCLA and Texas flip-flopped in the two polls, but
Hmm.
LSU, and I don't know. I mean, I think I would take LSU over Texas
I
personally.
would too. They have offense.
Yeah, and I mean, they've got Full Wiley coming in. They got
Hmm.
Flauget. I mean, I'm not that impressed with Madison Booker.
No, people love Madison
Yeah,
Booker.
they do. So, but those are probably the top five. I think Oklahoma was six, probably in both
Yeah,
polls.
I'm
They
a
got,
little, I feel like Oklahoma's a little overrated here. I know they had the girl who was number one initially, and I think she dropped to three in the high school rankings
yeah.
by all the time all was said and done. But uh,
Oh,
I think,
evidently Reagan Beers is coming back,
yeah,
so she's
I mean,
good.
yeah.
She's good. I mean, Oklahoma's good. I'm surprised they didn't have Notre Dame up higher. Actually, there seems to be so much
Well,
Hannah
Notre
Hidalgo
Dame lost
love.
a lot with Olivia and Citron.
Yeah, but I'm just surprised still with all the
Yeah.
Hannah Hidalgo love. I think they were out of the top 10.
Oh yeah, they're in
Um,
fifth, they're 13 and 15.
yeah, so
Seems too low to me.
yeah, but I mean,
Like
I think
North Carolina at 11 seems high to me.
yeah, I mean, I think Notre Dame is a lot of times gonna with Hidalgo in most games they play this year, they're gonna have the best player on the court on their team,
Hmm.
and in basketball that makes a big difference. I say
Yeah.
that often, but when you're only playing five players at a time and you've got the best player, it makes a big difference. And so
Yeah.
I think Notre Dame's probably should be in the top 10. But I mean, I can't argue with this top five, except I mean, Texas, I mean, I just don't like the way they play the game. And, I don't, Vic Schaefer plays bully ball and Detroit Pistons bad boys basketball type of style. And I'm just
Right.
not a fan. So hard for me to be excited to see Texas as a top five team, but maybe they are. We'll see. I don't know what all they got in the transfer portal. Um, but
Uh,
speaking of
oh,
that.
go
I was
ahead.
just gonna, unless you have something else to say, I was gonna transition to the
No, I was just
preseason
gonna say
All-American.
I'm interested to see Maryland this year. I feel like
Mm,
Maryland gets a lot of transfers and always has pretty good talent, but they don't quite seem to put it together, it feels like. But they got one of our favorites, Yarden Garzone, in the transfer portal.
yeah,
And they're ranked 10 on both the coaches and the AP. And I'm just interested to see Lauren Betts was listed as the preseason Big Ten Player of the Year, but ESPN had Yarden as the runner-up. So I don't know. It'll be interesting to see them, and it'll be sad to see Yarden in a Maryland uniform, but they could be good this year.
yeah, they could be. Yarden's a great player and just, you know, not the best athlete in the world, but
No.
such a good basketball player. So heady, a great shooter, a great passer, great team defender because she just has great basketball IQ. And yeah, IU's gonna miss her dearly. And yeah, it's gonna be weird to see her in a Maryland uniform. Not fun. But I did want to talk a few minutes about the preseason All-American team before we talk about UConn. So you often talk about an anti-UConn bias in the media. I opened up the ESPN article about the All-American team, and they
And it,
said Lauren Betts, Hannah Hidalgo, and Madison Booker lead the preseason All-American team. Then you go into the details, and Sarah Strong got more votes than Madison Booker did.
mm-hmm,
But the way the ESPN framed the narrative, it's like,
mm-hmm.
oh, Hannah Hidalgo, Lauren Betts, and Madison Booker
Which
lead the
three
preseason All-American
people,
team.
three people on a list of five is too many to lead a list anyway. You know, you say one or two. Like if Juju was healthy, it would be Juju leads the list, right?
Yeah. But I
I,
mean, it's stupid. I mean, Hannah Hidalgo and Lauren Betts, I think their article said there were 31 votes. Hannah Hidalgo and Betts both got 29, and Sarah got 28. Booker got 23. And they lead the article, Hannah Hidalgo, Lauren Betts, and Madison Booker. And it's like, if you wanted to stop with and not include Sarah because Hannah Hidalgo and Betts both got 29 votes, it's like, okay, fair enough. stupid that Sarah Strong didn't get 31 votes. And I think she's the best player in the country.
Yeah.
I am representing Sarah here with my
Yeah.
national championship NIL T-shirt to try to support her because I think she's the best player in the country. If there was a she was eligible for the draft and Juju wasn't, she would go ahead of Lauren Betts or AZ Fed or Olivia Miles in the draft. There's
Easily,
no doubt.
easily. Madison Booker, give me a break. Madison Booker isn't going to go top five.
Hannah Hidalgo is not going to go over. I mean, Sarah Strong. There is no way. But it just lends credence to your
I think
observation
there
that
is.
there's an anti-UConn bias in the media, especially
There
ESPN
is.
anyway.
Yeah, I think there is. And I mean, some of it I think is a lot of what makes sports um, compelling is like the competition and like the not knowing who's going to win. And it's like one of the few things that people watch live because it matters.
Mm,
Um, but like if you think back to like the Brianna Stewart era where it was like just a given that UConn was going to roll out and win by double digits, that's people started framing it as UConn is bad for women's basketball, which is ridiculous because UConn is literally the best thing that's ever happened to women's
r-
basketball, right?
right.
And even you think about like when they lost after Stewie left in 2017, the year before they had beat Mississippi State by like 60 in the tournament. And Mississippi State had that on their in their locker room all year, the score. They like worked all year because of the loss that UConn gave them, and then they upset UConn. Um, so it's just ridiculous. Like UConn isn't bad for sports. UConn would go places and like people would buy season tickets to wherever they were going to make sure they got tickets to watch UConn, and then they bought season tickets, and so they would go support their home team, and it's just crazy. Like UConn, then probably like Tennessee have done more than anything than any other
Yeah.
school for women's college basketball.
Yeah, those are definitely the top two. Now, South Carolina and Dawn Staley
Yeah.
have done a lot recently, but
Yep.
Tennessee and UConn historically definitely the top two programs, and they've done the most for women's basketball. But speaking of the anti-UConn bias, how is AZ Fed not on the first team?
Right.
How does she
I
get
got my AZ
11
shirt on.
votes? Yeah, you're representing AZ, I'm representing Sarah. I
Yeah.
mean, how did AZ only get 11 votes when again, Tania I don't know, Tania Latson,
Yeah.
because she's at South Carolina now, I guess, is getting votes, which she led the country in scoring, so she's obviously, good basketball player, but I'm assuming she could be a good stats, bad team kind of player who is
Sure.
not going to do what AZ Fed. She's, win the outstanding player in the Final Four.
Yeah.
And she's not going to be a top three pick. Like
Well,
AZ,
even
worst
yeah, I
case
mean,
scenario, AZ is a top three pick in this draft.
yeah, you take or take Booker off. I don't care. AZ
Sure.
should have been on the team for sure. But yeah, that's crazy. AZ, I mean, she obviously has her injury history, but if she's healthy, there's very, very, very few players who are better than her. And she can just change, like, she can end a game in a quarter or 5 minutes.
Yeah.
When she gets hot, like, it's completely over. And that's what she did in the tournament last year, is she just put a couple games away. And
Yeah. She did it in
um,
that exhibition game
yeah,
last week that we watched. She just third quarter, she just
hit five
was it
threes.
Boston College was
Hmm.
hanging around. Boston College was hitting some threes and shockingly staying relatively close. They were keeping it competitive. Then in the third quarter, AZ hit five threes and the game's over. I mean, it's just like boom. And that's like, yeah, she's a top five player in the college game. It's
And
stupid.
the other thing that's crazy about UConn players in general, but specifically AZ, is that she's a good defender. A
She
lot of
is.
times your top guards are like not really doing that much on the defensive end, but she's an excellent defender, like a plus defender,
Yeah.
in addition to being an elite shooter.
Yeah, which I think it's really going to be interesting with this Tania Latson. I'm not sure how they pronounce her last name, because Dawn Staley tends to demand her players play defense, and
Hmm.
I thought sometimes she should have given Full Wiley a little more rope than she did. I think South Carolina would have been better, personally.
Yeah.
And Tessa Johnson, I thought should have got playing time over. I didn't really understand Dawn's rotation some last year, but
Hmm.
it was going to be interesting to see is this Tania Latson good on defense? Because is Dawn going to pull her like a yo-yo like she did with Full Wiley. If she's not, I'm
Yeah.
really going to be interested to see how that plays out. But the rest of so it's the first team All-American: Lauren Betts, Hannah Hidalgo, Sarah Strong had the third most votes. Forget ESPN's order.
Yeah.
Then Madison Booker and Tania Lotzen, questionable at best to me. Either one of those could have been off. AZ Fed and Olivia Miles were the sixth and seventh most votes, and I could easily see AZ Fed or Olivia Miles over Booker and Tania Lotzen.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't understand, but especially AZ. Flauget got the eighth most votes. I could see Flauget ahead of either one of those,
Yeah, I would take Flau'jae ahead of Booker or
right?
Watson.
Yeah, I mean, I don't understand that. Then Michaela Blakes, I think, from
Oh yeah.
Vanderbilt, and
Yeah,
then
yeah.
Regan
She
Beers.
did she lead the nation in scoring? No, she didn't because
No,
Watson
she
did,
didn't.
but
Watson did.
she
Yeah,
scored a ton last year, I think.
she did. Yeah, she scored a lot. So, but I mean, I think that AZ, Olivia, and Flauget are all three of them are better than Madison Booker or Tania. So
Yeah.
I just don't understand what voters are thinking. I mean, you've talked about the anti-UConn bias, which I think is really true, but there's also a pro South Carolina bias, it seems like.
Yeah.
And I think if Lotson had remained at her, what school was she at? I don't even remember, somewhere in Florida.
Florida State or no, maybe.
But I bet if she was still there, she wouldn't have been
No.
first team. So
Which for Booker, maybe it's just they consider Texas a top four team and best player on the fourth best team
yeah,
is maybe how some voters think
I'm
about
sure
it.
that's it. I mean, they made the Final Four last year, and so I'm sure that's how some voters think about it. But I mean, she did not look good in the Final Four against South Carolina. And
No,
she did
she
not,
struggled so much.
yeah,
Yeah.
did not look like a first team All-American, and AZ
Mhm.
looked like the best player in the country in the Final Four. I mean, she played better than Paige did in the Final Four.
Yeah.
So yeah. Anyway, frustrating, but that it is what it is, and it's
Yeah, and
the
that's
stupid biased reporting of saying it was headed by Betts Hidalgo and Booker. Just what were they thinking? I don't.
yeah, I think something I hear about UConn is like Gino tells players when they go to UConn that they're not going to win any individual awards
Mm,
because they share the ball too much. They have too much talent. One player isn't going to get the touches to lead the nation in scoring or, to lead like there's too much talent. They kind of have to be selfless and play team basketball, but that comes at the cost of team awards, which definitely, they get the kind of players who are willing to sacrifice that for the team
yeah.
wins.
Which is part of the reason we love them. And,
Hmm.
I've been watching them and following them closely for the past 10 years and you even longer than that. So let's talk some UConn basketball, get off this silliness of voters who don't know what they're talking about. So UConn, at least the voters got that right. They're the number one team in the country. They deserve it. I think they
Yeah.
have the best player in the country in Sarah Strong and
Her
probably maybe the
biggest
second best
competition is
player.
AZ, right?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, Betts is big, and you can't teach height. Height's important in basketball, but 21st century basketball is not nearly as much about post players dominating as is perimeter players dominating. And I mean, man, if I were an NBA team or WNBA team, it would be hard for me to take Betts over AZ in the upcoming draft. So yeah, UConn arguably has the two best players in the country, and it's going to be a fun season.
Yeah, if they can stay healthy, which has kind of been the only thing keeping them back the last 5 years has been health. Um, But yeah, I and Sarah Williams was a great pickup in the transfer portal. She's a senior, so she just has 1 year of eligibility, but she's starting over Jana, so that's good news for UConn because Jana tends to be in foul trouble. So now you don't have to worry about it. If she plays 15 minutes and fouls out, so be it.
Yeah. Oh, it's great news because last year, um, Jana's backup was Ice, and Ice just is not a bad player, but she's only 6'2", or
Yeah.
I mean, she's very small. And
Hmm.
but now you got
And
Sarah Williams, who's a legit 6'4" and looks
hmm
long to me. I don't know that I've seen her wingspan measured or anything, but she looks long and a big 6'4" as far as length. And then you got Janet as a backup to her. So you've got size, you got depth there. You've got depth at point guard. They brought in Heckle. Um, so you got Heckle backing up KK. At least that's how they started the
yeah.
season with the exhibition game. So got great depth at point guard because Heckle, I like when I saw her playing for USC, I really liked her game. She's kind of a pesky defender. I mean, she's not going to score 20 points a game, but she's kind of plays in a similar way to KK, not quite as
Hmm.
quick, but just kind of gets on the other team's defender, harasses, seems like a smart basketball player. I mean, that was a great pickup in the portal as well.
Yeah, for sure. And then you just have that kind of pressure for 40 minutes. And some teams will hang with that for 20 minutes, some will hang with it for 30 minutes, but very few are going to be able to hang with that for 40 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, UConn's going to be able to pressure, and as you mentioned, AZ's a great defender. And she doesn't get credit for it. She does such a
Mhm.
good job. She's strong for her size. She's a decent size. She's not tiny. Some of those guards in women's college basketball, maybe 5'5" or 5'6", and AZ's a solid 5'11" at least, and she's strong and you know has such a high basketball IQ as well, and that comes through on the defensive end and not just the offensive end.
Yeah, and then we haven't even talked about Ashlyn Shade, who I assume is going to start, but you can kind of play her, if you take AZ off the floor and Ashlyn's in, you still have that 3-point threat. And she's also just one of those scrappy players. I think when we were watching the exhibition game, we said she's a little bit like Alexi Hall. Not in the same exact way, but just she gets some really key offensive rebounds. She hustles. She's just a fun player to watch too.
Yeah, not as far as level of talent. Her game's a little different, but
Yeah.
um, just that aspect of that type of player who is going to play hard, go surprisingly as a guard, crash in and get some offensive rebounds, and hit the occasional three-pointer when you need. If you leave Ashlyn Shade or Lexi open, they're going to hit their threes, right? I mean,
Hmm.
so there are a lot of similarities in their games. Lexi's a little taller,
Yeah.
but
Better
hey,
defender, but yeah.
yeah, Ashland's a Hoosier. She's a smart
Hmm.
basketball player. Grew up in Indiana, so we think, all of us from Indiana think we understand basketball better than everybody else. So, she does have a high basketball IQ, though. I think that it's fair to say that kids who play basketball in Indiana do have high basketball IQs for the most part. And
Hmm.
so that, but then, again, and topping on we could go into a little more detail on the depth, but I don't want to bury the lead with I think they have the best player in the country in sophomore Sarah Strong.
Sophomore. Yeah, it's crazy.
So, last year when I saw her play at the beginning of the season, I told mom, I was like, I don't know if this is fair to say this or not, but I think by the end of this season, Sarah may be the best player on the team over Paige even.
Yeah.
And I don't know if she got there, but she came close to being one of,
Yeah.
I mean, she was one of the
It
top players in the country by the end of the
in the
year. And
final four, it felt like Sarah, AZ, or Paige could have won most
right.
outstanding player of the final four, and it would have been justified.
Yeah, I mean, she can shoot. She can handle the ball she's big and strong. She's a smart defender. She can block shots. I mean, she can do everything on the basketball court.
Yeah, she has
And
great hands. She has like Nafisa-esque hands.
yeah, yeah. So, again, like you said, most games they play this year, they're going to have the two best players on the court in Sarah and AZ. But the depth they've added, we've mentioned the two big, great portal transfer pickups.
Great.
But also
Blanca?
Blanca, she's going to be a wild card, I think.
Yeah. It looks she's made quite a few mistakes in the
Yeah,
exhibition game, but it looked like Gino didn't yank her, so it's like I think he
he sees something
believes
in
in
her.
her enough that he's going to let her play through some of those mistakes, so that's good. Then they have Kellis Fisher, who's like a quick, kind of scrappy guard. Um, who else do they have?
Well, they've got the freshman returning from last year, Zybul,
Yeah,
coming back, who's a great
Kelly.
three-point shooter. Zelly, who got injured at the end of the year, but didn't she get hurt
Chelly, yeah,
last?
Chelly got
Kelly,
hurt at the end of the year. They have Ducharme. They have
there's
Anaya
Ducharme.
Patterson, who's finally healthy after like 5 years or
Yeah,
whatever.
who has Miss Indiana basketball her senior year
Yeah.
in high school, but so she's not a bad player. And then they have also, don't they have somebody who's originally from Ireland
Yeah.
and who's a
Gandhi.
big? So you got
Yeah.
another, she's six
Six
four, six
five.
five. Yeah. Yeah. So I don't know if she's any good or not. Maybe they end up redshirting her if they don't need her. I'm not sure. But they've got depth at every position. I mean, Blanca is, I mean, to me, this is It's a little bit of Sarah Strong-ish style of play, not the level. Again, kind of like Lexi and Ashlyn. You know, she's not the level of Sarah Strong. I'm not trying to say that, but just so she's 6'2". She's kind of big. She's not just a skinny little
Hmm.
18-year-old girl. You know, she's got international experience, and just seems to have a good court sense. She's a good passer. We saw her make a couple of good passes, also some knuckleheaded things. I think Sarah's basketball IQ is a little higher. Sarah makes fewer mistakes. But yeah, I mean, she's just an intriguing add to that lineup that could just make them impossible to beat.
Yeah, and it's like if someone is off, like you just have so much depth on the bench, or if someone is in foul trouble, like yeah, you just have so many options, which UConn hasn't had in years. So I think they're going to be really, really tough to beat.
Yeah, I think so too, which is fun. I mean, we love the way Gino coaches them to play the game, a team style. People are looking for team success over individual awards, and just the kind of basketball I grew up with in Indiana, and the kind of basketball I appreciate, and why when you started talking to me about UConn basketball, I became a fan of Gino and the UConn Huskies. So yeah, fun to see them. They're going to have a great season. I don't think we can say the same thing about our IU Hoosier women's team.
Oof. No, they lost almost everyone either to graduation or like the transfer portal, which is it's confusing. I don't know what happened except Yarden. There were some rumors about why Yarden left, and that seemed
Yeah.
understandable. But a couple other people like La Mandola just left and said, "Oh, love IU, but going to Grand Canyon State or whatever."
Yeah, Grand Canyon
Um,
University. It's a small little Division I school in
yeah,
Flagstaff, I think, which is
Bargesser left. So yeah, not a lot of returnees, but they have some good people signed for next year, it looks like. So I think this year will kind of just be rebuilding, establishing culture. They have Beaumont coming back. They
Chesky.
have Shea Chetsky coming back, and that's pretty much it. Faith
Yeah, Faith
Wiseman, but
Wiseman. We'll see. I mean, she's from Indian Creek, so we got a little bit of a connection to Indian Creek,
yeah,
and hoping that she can take a real step up in her game. She didn't. She looked a little overwhelmed at the Big Ten level. I mean, Indian Creek's a small school
yeah,
near Trafalgar, Indiana, and she seemed overwhelmed. But we've had clearly somebody helped Mackenzie Holmes develop, and Mackenzie was on the staff. I hope that she's working with Faith in the off season and during the season and last year and this year because she's got good size and she moves well for somebody
yeah.
her size, but she just didn't the bright lights of playing in assembly hall didn't seem to sit well with Faith.
No,
She wasn't ready for it last year, but yeah. So there's Wiseman, Chesky, and Beaumont back, and then they got a really good transfer from UCLA. I don't remember
yeah.
Zanaga Sock.
Zanaya
Zanaya
something.
Sock? Is that?
Sokka Nyungman. I don't know
Yeah,
how.
I don't know, but I mean, she was
Yeah.
a very high recruit, um, playing behind Lauren Betts, so she got to compete against Betts every day in practice for a year. And
Hmm.
then, but I think she was a top 15 recruit. So there's some real talent there and some real potential. And hopefully Beaumont. And then they've got I don't remember the name of the incoming freshman from Indiana who is high school Indiana Miss Basketball.
Maya
Maya.
McCulloughy from
Yeah, they got some
Fishers.
tough names to pronounce right now.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I think she's supposed to be the real deal. So I'm excited to see her play. They've got
And
a
it's nice just to get the Indiana kid.
Yeah, and they've got an Indiana transfer. I think a player. She grew up in Bedford, played at Bedford High School, went to
Oh yeah.
Alabama,
Yep.
and
Chloe
transferred back.
Spreen.
Yeah, Chloe Spreen. So it's just maybe she'll be a Sydney Parrish kind of story, transferring back
Hmm.
to the home state school and having a great career. I love Sydney Parrish, and she really contributed to the success of IU the past few years.
Yeah.
So hopefully Chloe can do the same thing. So I mean, there's some talent there, and you know, like you said, I think they've got some good recruits in 2026
Yeah.
already. They've done a
Hmm.
much better job of recruiting. I know they switched the assistant coaches out. They let go
Just the
one
one, I
coach,
think, right?
the one coach, and hired a new coach who's the primary recruiter. and they're crushing it. They've got three top 70 players. One player's, I just checked the rankings before the podcast. One player's 28th right now in the country by
Yeah.
ESPN's high school rankings, and the other player, the second best player they recruited, is ranked 32.
Well, I
And then
don't
they,
even think Grace Berger and Mackenzie Holmes are ranked that high, so
no,
those
they
could be like
weren't.
highest recruits in program history.
Well, yeah, I don't know about Maya McClush. She was pretty highly rated, I think.
Okay.
Also, whatever Maya's last name. Sorry, Maya. We'll figure it out by the time the season gets going here. But I think clearly an upgrade in recruiting already to get
Yeah.
to that high level, and they've got a player coming in from Australia, but I think they already had her. So
Hmm.
it looks like they have four very solid freshmen. I mean, a strong freshman class for 2026. I
Yeah.
mean, so the future looks great, and we
Yeah.
trust in Terry.
Yeah, Terry's one of those coaches that gets more out of a team than like the individual pieces. Like
Yeah,
they
the
haven't been
hole's
the most
more.
athletic team, but they've been incredibly good defensively the last 5+ years. So she's someone who just, yeah, is a good coach, gets a lot out of the players and the talent that she has.
Yeah, and I mean, she teaches them to play a good brand of team defense, a good style of team offense. They're just fun to watch. Again, if you're a fan of UConn style of basketball, you're going to like IU Hoosiers with Terry Moore, and she just, she grew up in Indiana, so we kind of like that about her too. And yeah, it's just fun to watch. So hopefully, they're going to come in, pretty lowly rated. I mean, I saw they got votes in the coaches. I think
Is
in the
there?
coaches poll, they were like third. Others receiving votes, they're like the 10th. So that put them like 35th in the country. So I mean, I think making the tournament this year would be a success given
Yeah.
the complete roster turnover. But I think the future is looking really bright for
Yeah.
the Hoosiers. So excited to watch the season, even though it's not going to be as successful as the past few.
No.
I'm still looking forward to watching it.
Yeah, and that's the nice thing too about the women's game in college is that for this is changing a little bit, but for the most part, kids come and play for 4 years for their school.
Yeah.
So it's fun just to see the team build and watch the kids that you're going to watch the next 4 years.
Yeah, I mean, this is a real anomaly with IU losing 9 players or whatever to
Hmm.
the transfer to graduation in the transfer portal. I mean, it's just not something that usually happens, and so hopefully it's just a one-off and it won't happen anymore. And that is something that's much more fun about the women's game than the men's game. But speaking of the men's game and turnover, just maybe a couple minutes on the IU men before we wrap up here. New coach, new coaching staff, and a complete new roster. So I have no idea what to expect.
Right. Yeah, it's great, but it's not a bad thing because they've been pretty bad. So, I mean, something different was needed for sure. But yeah, I don't know. It'll be interesting to see. I think they've already in their preseason game hit more threes than they ever did last year.
Yeah.
So hopefully modern basketball is coming to the IU men's side.
Finally, after last 8 years of enduring Archie Miller and Mike Woodson just not joining the 21st century in modern basketball offense, looks like at least we're going to have a modern basketball offense. And I don't know how we're going to do a lot of transfer players. Um, you know, there's some real talent. The coach's son, DeVry, looks like he's really good. And there's Trent Sisley, who uh, is from Indiana. He's from Santa Claus, Indiana, so not far from us in southern Indiana. But his played for Heritage Hills High School, I believe. But then his senior year, he went to one of the basketball factories in Florida, Mount Verde Academy, which I think Jalen Hood Schifino played there at
Yeah,
Mount
and what's
Verde.
his name? His who why am I blanking on his name? The other guy, the big who came with
Oh,
him.
I forget totally too. I don't remember.
Oh man. This is the problem when they come and don't stay.
They come and go. Yeah, they come and go. But yeah, I mean, so it's a really good basketball school. And I think from things I've read online, he really developed a lot his senior year in high school from going there. And I mean, Heritage Hills is a tiny school and it's an Indiana high school. So we all think he's still getting good basketball coaching, but there's a different level of competition every day in practice then, and a different level of competition in games that helps you develop as a player.
Right.
So I'm excited to see him, to see
Yeah.
Sisley. So I think, I go in a little bit, what, just I don't want to have a lot of hope because I feel like I've, been burned a couple times with IU coaching hire. So we'll see. I'm not giving the benefit of the doubt. I feel like they need to prove it to me. I feel like I'm from Missouri, the show me state. I'm always going to bleed red and white for IU, but I just feel like this team needs to show me before I can be super excited. I'm excited about IU women's team because of Terry Moore and I trust her. And I
Hmm.
just feel like new coach, new system, new play, all new players. I mean, they're gonna have to. I'll be cheering for them, but it's not going to be. I'm not going to be that excited about IU men's basketball initially, but
Yeah.
they can win me over, is what I'm trying to say. And I could be full on, all out happy and excited about IU men's basketball again for the first time in a long time. So, so we'll see. But you said, I mean, the IU men have a preseason game against Baylor, which was kind of a shocker. I mean, that's a good team to have as a preseason opponent. So that's
Yeah, it's a
tomorrow.
change.
And
It's
you
a
said
departure
UConn.
from Woodson's strategy of like just scheduling cupcake off
Yeah.
like non-conference games and stuff. So
Yeah. So very interesting to see what happens in that game. And maybe we can pick it up online somewhere. Probably not tomorrow. But and UConn women have a game tomorrow, right?
that's right. Yeah. They have, I don't remember who it's against, but yeah, they play again in the afternoon. And then I think that's it until the season starts in a week, 2 weeks. I don't know how soon it
Well, their
starts.
game, did you see that? I just saw a headline on ESPN. Their game got moved because of the government
Hmm.
shutdown. They're going to be playing in Germany against Louisville, November
Hmm.
4th. So that's about a week and a half. But now it's been moved to somewhere back in the States, maybe
Yeah,
the
it was on
Naval
like a
Academy.
Navy base or something
Yeah,
like that.
yeah.
So,
So that should be I mean, Louisville maybe isn't what they were a few years ago, but they're always good. They're well
yeah.
coached, and
Yeah.
so that's a tough season opener for UConn women, but
Yeah.
yeah, it should be a fun game.
Yeah, it's nice to have a test against a good team. I expect UConn's talent will kind of outmatch Louisville's, but still nice to not be playing some random small school and just beat them
Yeah,
by 40.
yeah, yeah. So anyway, one of my favorite times of the year. It's October. It's fall. I love fall, and college basketball is kicking into gear. So a lot of fun to look forward to, and can't wait to be cheering on the Huskies and the Hoosiers. All right. Well, I think that's it for the W Hoops podcast today. Everyone, please be sure to subscribe and leave a comment or a review, and we'll see you next week.